All right, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, now I'm gonna tell a story of a meltdown I had at a grocery store. Here's the issue in grocery stores. When the lines get long, the people have started this thing where they put their cart in the checkout line half full, and then they leave it there, and they go get things, and then they bring it back to the cart, and we're expected to push the cart forward for them when the line moves to fill that gap. And I did it for years, but then I just realized I was enabling them. And so my new policy is I fill that gap, I skip ahead, and just out of spite, I invite any old ladies in the vicinity to join me. I know what we're dealing with. I've profiled this criminal. I know what she'll look like, because there's a phenomenon in modern society where women are able to keep their neck down looking very young for a long time. The technology to keep the neck down young, the yoga, the Pilates, is way ahead of the technology to keep the face young. So you have these combination bodies because there's no yoga pose for the face. So you have these minotaurs walking around the city with the body of a yoga instructor and then the head of a Komodo dragon. And they're angry and hungry, and this is what came back to the cart with an armful of frozen foods, which at this particular grocery store means she went downstairs to frozen foods on an escalator, a 10-minute round trip, the audacity, nay, the temerity. And she comes back and she puts the food in the cart and she says, she figures out what happened. She says, "Yeah, no." I hate "yeah, no." So I said, "No, yeah." She says, "I was ahead of you." I said, "Yes, you were ahead of me until you went shopping." And she says, "No." And she pushes me in the basket. She pushes me out of the way, goes ahead, and I'm horrified. I wasn't expecting this to turn violent. And I'm looking around for somebody in the grocery store to come to my aid, and then I realize, oh yeah, I'm an adult. I can come to my own aid. I can take a stand, which is something I don't normally do because I'm a spineless pussy. But I've seen stands taken, and basically you need a gesture and a slogan. So I went with, "This isn't fair!" I used the Black Power symbol from the 1968 Olympics, which I thought was really appropriate. I said, "This isn't fair," thinking it would start a groundswell of support. There was silence, except for a man behind me who said, "Here we go." And that was accompanied by an eerie glow as people raised their phones and switched from pic to vid. And I would have backed down because I had mismanaged the entire situation. I had failed. But then the woman who cut me, after I said, "This isn't fair," she turned around and she said, "You'll get over it." Thereby ensuring that I would never get over it. I will never get it. I can hold a grudge like a bench vice. I've been juggling some since 3rd grade. There's no way I'll ever get over it. On my deathbed, I will scream, "This isn't fair!" And people will analyze it. It'll be my rosebud. They'll say, "What could he have meant by 'this isn't fair'? Life is too short?" No, a woman cut him in line 46 years ago at a grocery store, and he never got over it, despite the fact that she insisted that he would. So I knew I wasn't gonna get over it, so I picked up my basket and I jab-faked left, and she bit, so I crossed over to get the baseline on her, but she was spry. She spun and rammed my basket with her cart, crushing my lentil chips, rendering them useless, because they're for dipping, not for topping. And now at this point, I'm drunk on righteous anger, and I scream, "That's assault! That is assault!" And that is when she realized she had been out crazied. And she started her retreat. But she says, just know that you're allowed to leave your cart in New York City. That's how it works. Yeah. No. That's not how it works at all. That's not how it works. Here's how it works. Here's your cart. Here's your foot. Anything you can reach without lifting this foot off the ground, you can put into your cart. You cannot lift your leg, get on an escalator, go downstairs to frozen foods, come back with an armful of Weight Watchers ice cream bars, and take your spot in line. Because the thing is, you will have lifted your pivot foot, and that, my dear, is a travel. And I'm calling it. Had she just asked, do you mind if I go downstairs to frozen foods? I forgot my Weight Watchers, and I'm almost out of points, and I really need to get something sweet. And I would say, go, Godspeed, madam. Because that's the secret about Americans, and probably Canadians, and even New Yorkers. We love to do favors for strangers. For strangers, not our family. They can go to hell. They've hurt us too many times. I had a wonderful time, everybody. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you. I was a baby once. I was really tall when I was a baby. People always ask me how tall I am, and I don't mind. I don't have a chip on my shoulder, right? There's no chip on the shoulder, but if there was a chip, it would be a Pringle sour cream and onion, and I would have eaten it 9 months ago because it's delicious. But I don't mind when people ask me. I'm 6'6", which is fine, and thank you. Yeah, and then, but what I don't like is when people have follow-up questions. They always want to know, how tall are your parents? How tall are your parents? Your parents big? Are your parents tall? What are you doing, a project? And the problem is that my parents are not tall. My dad is 5'7", my mom is 5'3", which is weird. And people always say the same thing when they find that out. They always say the same thing. How tall is the milkman? You must hear that all the time. Milkman. Yeah, milkman. That's good. Milkman. Yeah. What year is this? Milkman? Anybody here had dairy delivered in the past 500 years? No, but I appreciate you questioning my mom's fidelity. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for calling my mom a whore. That's a charming icebreaker. Thank you very much. I hear it so much at this point, I just go along with it. I'm like, yeah, she was with the milkman. That's her thing. That slut. What are you going to do? She only dates guys with occupations that no longer exist. That's her thing. Yeah, she dated the milkman for a while. Before that, she was involved with the cobbler for a bit. Then she went out with the chimney sweep, Chim Chim Chiru, the town crier. Hear ye, hear ye. She dated the blacksmith for a fortnight, just a fortnight. She even dated the Muffin Man. Do you know the Muffin Man? Yes, the Muffin Man. Listen, the economy is, it's better, but I still see things that remind me that we're not out of the woods yet. Like I was exercising, and there was a man on the machine next to me listening to a Discman. It is one thing to read about poverty. It's another thing to see it sweating next to you on the elliptical. That's when it gets real, my friends. I didn't recognize it at first. It had been so long since I'd seen a Discman in the wild. It was huge. I looked over there, I thought he was listening to a pizza. It was enormous. Now, I had a Discman. Did you ever have it? You're too young to have had a Discman. I had a Discman. This is how long ago I got my Discman. I paid $188 for my Discman. It was a good price. $188 I paid for my Discman. I could go over to Rite Aid right now with $188 and bring back a Discman for everyone in this room. In fact, go ahead and reach under your seats, everyone. Go ahead and reach under your seats. You think you're gonna walk away without a gift from Gary Gulman? Even if I did put a Discman under everybody's seats, you'd leave it behind at the end of the night. You'd be like, that was really sweet and generous. And he had very kind eyes. Gary had very kind eyes. I do have kind eyes. You were wondering, why do I trust this guy that I barely know? Kind eyes. How kind? On my license next to eyes, it says kind. Only myself and Mark Ruffalo can boast that.